Welcome to Deep Dive by House of Undine, the wellness podcast where peace meets power and depth drives everything. Interviews, insights, meditations, and more. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to Deep Dive by House of Undine. Happy Monday, or whatever day of the week it is for you. So excited that you're here. So this week we are doing the Archives Recap, which is our monthly series here on Deep Dive, where we are going to dive into our most recent Archives book club read. And if you want to know more about the book club, I did a whole deep dive into all the books we've read so far and everything that goes into the book club, which is really fun, back in episode 2. This month, we read Gut Check by Dr. Stephen Gundry. And it was a surprising month because it honestly went differently than I thought it would. So that being said, I am going to be honest with you. I went into our April meeting a little hesitant because I was like not really into the book. And it's not necessarily the content of the book. For me, it was just, it was more the writing style. I think I may have preferred it if I had listened to it via audiobook and his voice. And that being said, I am obviously pretty deep into wellness. It's basically my whole algorithm. So I have been pretty in the know about this whole gut-brain connection for a few years now. I feel like it's been in this space. So when I was reading it, I didn't necessarily think that it was saying a whole lot different to what I had already learned. And so when we came to the meeting, I was like, oh man, like this wasn't a great month. Like people aren't going to like the book, like darn it. And I was totally wrong. The group loved the book. We gave it 4 stars, which by archive standards is a really strong book. 5 is kind of like amazing, but 4 is a really good book that you really liked and you would recommend to other people. And overall, everyone felt like it was really informative. It was really accessible. And it was a great entry point for anyone who's been curious about gut health and how it connects to the bigger picture of how we feel and function. And it gave a really good overview. So for somebody who maybe doesn't know a ton about that or isn't confronted all day long with the wellness stuff, it would actually be a really great starting point for you. And one moment that got me in particular, which was just so special to me, is that one of our members had liked the book so much and it really resonated with her. And she is incorporating some of these dietary changes into her diet in the future. And she got the book and the cookbook. And that for me was just such a wonderful experience because it was a good reminder to me that even if the isn't at the right time for me, it doesn't mean that it's not important to somebody else and it's not good for somebody else. And it made me like the book more. And even if I didn't love the book entirely, it still was really cool for everyone else to read. And that was such a cool experience. And really what the book club is all about, because I want a difference of opinion, want like healthy discussion. Like if you liked it and I didn't, I want to hear all about it because it does change my opinion. And then I'm like, oh, wow, like that's true. I didn't think about it that way. And like, that makes a lot of sense. And then you have a deeper appreciation and you have a broader context to things. I really love that. Thought it was amazing. So excited to hear how it goes and how it affects her. And then second to that, it was also one of these meetings where like it really showed our community membership and it's really becoming this really cool space to come, because even one of our members didn't read the book, but she still came and she had been doing like this deep dive into the Artemis mission. She was like super in it and was meaning to read but couldn't because she just got so caught up in this Artemis mission, which is so fun and so cool. She updated us on everything that was going on, and I just feel collectively the Artemis mission has been such a beautiful thing to watch and such a really inspiring and joyful, loving thing to see something so heartfelt and pure, and like 4 crew members who really love and appreciate each other. It's just been kind of a healing moment for a lot of people if you've been seeing it. So she came in with all this energy and then we connected about that. And somebody else who was really into it. So it was just a really cool book club meeting this month. Anyways, so for those of you who haven't read Gut Check, here is kind of the core of what he is arguing. So The central idea is that your microbiome is not just your digestive system, it is the foundation of almost everything. So, your mood, your energy, your immune function, your risk of disease. And he talks a lot about how the gut is out of balance, and that imbalance is where a lot of chronic illness becomes. He goes deep onto lectins, and he argues that damage to the gut lining can contribute to leaky gut. And, that's kind of his big argument is like specific foods that you're eating, like nightshades, legumes, grains, tomatoes, peppers, they're really affecting your gut lining and they're making it hard for your gut to actually protect you. It is contested, so I want you all to take that into consideration. A lot of mainstream nutrition science doesn't broadly support avoiding lectin foods for most people, but there are still a lot of people. I mean, he says he has all these clients who do really well with his diet. So take that for what it is. It's up to you to do what you want. He also talks about a lot of different things. He talks about endocrine disruptors like BPAs, plastics, things in our food packaging. And there were a few other things that surprised me that I wasn't aware of. The first surprising fact to me was this lithium connection. Gundry talks a lot about the emerging research connecting psychiatric medications to the gut microbiome, and specifically how drugs like lithium used for bipolar disorder actually influence the composition of your gut bacteria, which is real. Apparently, there's a 2025 review confirming that lithium and other mood stabilizers affect the gut microbiota in measurable ways. And the gut-brain axis and the idea that your microbiome and your mental health are in constant two-way conversation. And that's what I hear about a lot lately. I had no idea that the drugs that you use for mental disorders actually had anything to do with the gut microbiome. So there was that. The second thing that I found very surprising was his section on beef bone broth, which I was shocked by because bone broth is such a huge thing right now. Like everybody's drinking bone broth for the protein and it's really great for you and it has all this nutritional value. And he basically says that bone broth is actually like a gut bomb and it can be really harmful because of certain molecules found in it. He specifically talks about beef broth being a gut bomb. He said that chicken broth he considers different and more beneficial. But again, this is his position. This isn't necessarily law, so always remember that. But I just thought it was worth noting, and especially if it's something you've incorporated, it's interesting to kind of be like, oh, wait, like, I don't know. I mean, it's surprising to me. So I just thought that was interesting, his opinion on specifically beef bone broth. And then he made another interesting argument, which was this nicotine situation. He points to the Blue Zones research, and he talks about the populations known for exceptional longevity and the centenarians, and he argues that in certain longevity communities, there is a significant portion of men that smoke, yet the men in those communities outlive the women, which is kind of unheard of because typically women's lives are longer than men's generally across the board. And his theory is that the nicotine itself actually acts as what he refers to throughout the book as a mitochondrial uncoupler, and that is supposed to help cells manage energy more efficiently. And because they also consume a lot of vitamin C rich diets in this region, it can offset some of the oxidative stress that smoking causes. So he's not necessarily recommending smoking, but he does say that there seems to be some correlation between the smoking in those countries to longevity with specifically the nicotine. And I just found this super interesting because right now in the wellness community, there's a huge push towards nicotine use, especially in the biohacking culture. Like there are these Zen pouches, the idea of using nicotine, low dose nicotine for focus and cognitive performance. And they're using it as a productivity tool. There are studies that have shown that it has some improvements in attention, memory, motor function. Again, the research is early and I'm not telling anybody to smoke because, addiction is real. And I just find the whole thing to be fascinating because it's crazy to me that, when I was growing up, especially in like high school and college, it was like smoking was the worst thing for you. And now people are like, yeah, nicotine's great. And not to say I haven't smoked cigarettes in my life. So this is not to shame anybody who smokes by any means. Like, I've been there, done that. But I just found it so interesting. And also to further my point about the book that I found, it was like a lot of the stuff I had already kind of known. Like I've been aware of like BPAs, BFAs, kind of like plastics, endocrine disruptors, FDA regulations and how that whole situation is strange. And also other things like fragrances and phthalates, or phthalates, however you say. So I was kind of aware of all that stuff, but it was interesting to me that this book came out a couple years ago and he kind of made mention of this, and now it has blown up into something really big. So I'm just saying here, it's a conversation worth, diving into, talking about, and this book could really help you. I mean, there's a lot in here that could be really helpful for a lot of people. I know that a lot of people have benefited from, using these diets, especially if they have things like autoimmune diseases. If that's you, it might be worth diving into. So to close, we gave it 4 stars. And if you are newer to the gut-brain connection, it really probably is something worth looking into. That being said, we picked our new May book, which I am super excited about. It's called The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman, which is a complete shift. We're moving from nutrition into identity and performance psychology. This book is kind of the premise is that top athletes, executives, and performers use alter egos to access the best versions of themselves in high-stake moments. Not as necessarily fake personas, but as a real psychological tool. So if any of you are into Beyonce, she always says her alter ego is Sasha Fierce, and that's who she steps into. And I think it's really interesting and it's very useful. So I'm so curious to read this book. Our next meeting is Tuesday, May 5th at 8 p.m. And as always, one thing I like to shout out, it's always a good time to join. You are always welcome. The more, the merrier. I set up the Zoom meetings so that everyone can participate, whether you've read the book or not, because I don't want anyone to ever feel like they can't show up because they just couldn't get to the book that month. And it's cool to just come hang out. I have such a cool group right now, and they're wonderful. I get excited every time we meet, and yeah, come join us. It's such a beautiful time. You can sign up, RSVP for the link at houseofundine.com/events, or if you follow me on Instagram, it's in my link in bio. It also will probably be linked somewhere here. I'd love to have you. Can't wait to talk to you next week. Love you. Bye. Thanks for diving deep with us. If you like this episode, share it, rate it, and come back next week for more. This is Deep Dive by House of Undine, where peace meets power. The content presented in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to constitute professional advice of any kind, including but not limited to medical, legal, financial, psychological, or other professional services. Nothing discussed should be interpreted as medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or prevention of any disease, nor as a substitute for advice from a licensed physician, healthcare provider, or other qualified professional. You should not disregard or delay seeking medical or other professional advice because of something you have heard on this podcast. Always consult a licensed physician, healthcare provider, or other qualified professional regarding your specific circumstances before making decisions related to your health, treatment, medication, supplements, finances, legal matters, or lifestyle. If you believe you are experiencing a medical or other emergency, contact your physician or the appropriate emergency services immediately.